Impermanence, or anicca in Pali, is a fundamental concept in Buddhism that underscores the transient nature of all phenomena. This principle asserts that everything in the universe, from the smallest grain of sand to the grandest mountain, is in a constant state of flux. Nothing remains static. Everything is subject to change, decay, and eventual dissolution. The Buddha emphasized this truth as a cornerstone of his teachings, encouraging his followers to observe and understand the impermanent nature of life. By recognizing and accepting impermanence, individuals can cultivate a deeper sense of peace and equanimity, freeing themselves from the suffering that arises from clinging to the illusion of permanence. In our daily lives, we often resist change and hold on to people, possessions, and experiences as if they will last forever. This attachment leads to inevitable disappointment and suffering when the reality of impermanence manifests. Buddhism teaches that by embracing the transient nature of existence, we can develop a more balanced perspective on life. This acceptance allows us to appreciate each moment for what it is, without becoming overly attached or averse to its passing. The concept of impermanence is not merely an abstract philosophical idea, but a practical guide for living. It encourages mindfulness and presence, urging us to fully engage with the present moment, rather than being lost in regrets about the past or anxieties about the future. By internalizing the truth of impermanence, we can navigate life's ups and downs with greater resilience and grace. Understanding impermanence also fosters compassion and empathy. When we realize that everyone and everything is subject to change and loss, we become more compassionate towards others' struggles and more appreciative of our shared human experience. This awareness can lead to more meaningful connections and a greater sense of community. In summary, impermanence is a central tenet of Buddhism that offers profound insights into the nature of reality. By embracing this truth, we can live more fully, with greater awareness, compassion, and acceptance. The concept of anicca, or impermanence, is a fundamental tenet in Buddhism that underscores the transient nature of all phenomena. Anicca is one of the three marks of existence, alongside dukkha, suffering, and anatta, non-self, which collectively describe the inherent characteristics of all conditioned things. According to Buddhist teachings, everything in the universe is in a constant state of flux. This includes not only physical objects, but also thoughts, emotions, and experiences. Nothing remains static. Everything is subject to change, decay, and eventual dissolution. Understanding anicca requires recognizing that clinging to permanence in an impermanent world leads to suffering. This attachment manifests in various forms, such as the desire for eternal youth, unchanging relationships, or perpetual happiness. When reality inevitably contradicts these desires, it results in disappointment and distress. By accepting the truth of impermanence, individuals can begin to let go of their attachments and reduce their suffering. Anicca also highlights the interconnectedness of all things. Since everything is constantly changing, nothing exists in isolation. Each moment is shaped by preceding conditions and will influence subsequent ones. This interdependence emphasizes the importance of mindfulness and awareness in our actions and thoughts. In practical terms, embracing anicca encourages a more flexible and adaptive approach to life. It fosters resilience by helping individuals accept change as a natural part of existence, rather than something to be feared or resisted. This acceptance can lead to a deeper appreciation for the present moment and a more compassionate attitude towards oneself and others. Ultimately, the concept of anicca invites us to see beyond the illusion of permanence and embrace the dynamic nature of life. By doing so, we can cultivate a sense of peace and equanimity amidst the ever-changing landscape of our experiences. The historical context of the Buddha's teachings on impermanence is deeply rooted in the cultural and philosophical landscape of ancient India. During the 6th century BCE, a period marked by significant social and spiritual upheaval, Siddhartha Gautama, who would later become known as the Buddha, embarked on a quest to understand the nature of suffering and the path to liberation. The concept of impermanence, or anicca in Pali, emerged as a cornerstone of his teachings. In the Buddha's time, many spiritual traditions and philosophies grappled with questions about the nature of existence, suffering, and the self. The prevailing belief systems often posited a permanent soul or an unchanging essence. However, through his profound meditative insights and experiences, the Buddha realized that all conditioned phenomena are transient and subject to change. This realization was not merely an intellectual understanding, but a deep experiential insight that formed the basis of his enlightenment. The Buddha articulated his insights on impermanence in various discourses and teachings. One of the most significant early texts is the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the discourse on setting in motion the wheel of Dharma, where he introduced the Four Noble Truths and highlighted the pervasive nature of suffering due to clinging to impermanent things. He emphasized that recognizing and accepting impermanence is crucial for overcoming attachment and ultimately attaining nirvana. Throughout his 45 years of teaching, the Buddha repeatedly returned to the theme of impermanence. In numerous suttas, discourses, he used vivid analogies to illustrate this concept. For instance, he compared human life to a dewdrop at dawn, a bubble in a stream, or a flash of lightning, each symbolizing the fleeting nature of existence. These teachings were aimed at helping his followers develop a clear understanding that everything, from our thoughts and emotions to our physical bodies and external circumstances, is in constant flux. The Buddha also addressed impermanence in relation to personal identity. He taught that what we consider to be the self is actually a collection of ever-changing physical and mental components known as the five aggregates: form, sensation, perception, mental formations, and consciousness. By recognizing that these aggregates are impermanent and devoid of any enduring essence, practitioners can begin to loosen their attachment to the notion of a fixed self. In summary, the historical context of the Buddha's teachings on impermanence reflects a radical departure from contemporary beliefs about permanence and selfhood. His insights into anicca provided a transformative framework for understanding suffering and liberation, emphasizing that embracing impermanence is essential for spiritual growth and freedom from attachment. Through his teachings, the Buddha offered a path for individuals to navigate the ever-changing nature of life with wisdom and equanimity. In Buddhism, the three marks of existence are fundamental principles that describe the nature of all phenomena. These three characteristics are anicca, impermanence; dukkha, suffering or unsatisfactoriness; and anatta, non-self. Together, they provide a comprehensive framework for understanding the transient and interconnected nature of life. Anicca, or impermanence, is the recognition that all conditioned phenomena are in a constant state of flux. Nothing remains static. Everything is subject to change. This principle applies to all aspects of existence, from the smallest particles to the vast cosmos, and from our fleeting thoughts to our physical bodies. By acknowledging impermanence, we can begin to let go of our attachments and expectations, which often lead to suffering when things inevitably change. Dukkha, often translated as suffering or unsatisfactoriness, arises from our inability to accept the impermanent nature of life. It is not just about physical pain or emotional distress, but also encompasses a broader sense of dissatisfaction that permeates our experiences. This dissatisfaction stems from our clinging to things that are inherently transient and our desire for them to remain unchanged. By understanding dukkha, we can start to see how our attachments and aversions contribute to our suffering and learn to approach life with greater equanimity. Anatta, or non-self, challenges the notion of a permanent, unchanging self. According to this principle, what we consider to be the self is merely a collection of ever-changing physical and mental components. There is no enduring essence or soul that remains constant throughout our lives. This insight can be liberating as it helps us realize that many of our fears and anxieties are based on a mistaken belief in a fixed self. By embracing anatta, we can cultivate a more fluid and adaptable sense of identity, allowing us to navigate life's changes with greater ease. Together, these three marks of existence offer profound insights into the nature of reality. They encourage us to see beyond superficial appearances and recognize the deeper truths that underlie our experiences. By internalizing these principles, we can develop a more balanced and compassionate approach to life, ultimately leading to greater wisdom and inner peace. In Buddhism, the concept of impermanence is intricately linked to the Four Noble Truths, which form the foundation of the Buddha's teachings. The first noble truth, dukkha, acknowledges the inherent suffering and dissatisfaction present in life. This suffering is often a result of our attachment to things that are transient and ever-changing. By understanding impermanence, we begin to see that clinging to temporary states or possessions inevitably leads to disappointment and sorrow, because nothing remains constant. The second noble truth, samudaya, identifies the origin of suffering as craving or desire. Our desires are often rooted in a misunderstanding of the nature of reality. We seek permanence in a world that is inherently impermanent. This craving for stability in an unstable world creates a cycle of suffering. Recognizing the impermanent nature of all things helps us understand why our desires can never be fully satisfied, and why they lead to continuous cycles of longing and discontent. The third noble truth, nirodha, offers hope by teaching that the cessation of suffering is possible. By letting go of our attachments and desires, we can achieve a state of liberation known as nirvana. Embracing impermanence allows us to release our grip on things that are fleeting and to find peace in the present moment. This acceptance is crucial for ending the cycle of suffering and achieving true contentment. The fourth noble truth, magga, outlines the path to the cessation of suffering through the Eightfold Path. This path includes practices such as right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. Each aspect of the Eightfold Path encourages us to live in harmony with the truth of impermanence. For instance, right mindfulness involves being aware of the changing nature of our thoughts and emotions, while right effort entails cultivating wholesome qualities that align with an understanding of life's transient nature. By integrating the concept of impermanence into our understanding and practice of the Four Noble Truths, we can develop a more profound insight into the nature of existence. This insight not only alleviates suffering, but also enriches our lives by fostering a deeper appreciation for each moment as it arises and passes away. Through this lens, impermanence becomes not a source of fear, but a gateway to living more fully and authentically. Embracing impermanence has profound practical implications that can transform the way we live our daily lives. By recognizing that everything is transient, we can cultivate a mindset that is more adaptable and resilient in the face of change. This understanding encourages us to appreciate the present moment, knowing that it is fleeting and unique. When we accept that both joy and sorrow are temporary, we can navigate life's ups and downs with greater equanimity, reducing our suffering and enhancing our overall well-being. One of the most significant practical benefits of embracing impermanence is the reduction of attachment. Attachment often leads to suffering because we cling to people, experiences, and material possessions, hoping they will provide lasting happiness. However, when we understand that nothing is permanent, we can begin to let go of these attachments and find contentment within ourselves. This shift in perspective allows us to enjoy things for what they are, without the fear of losing them or the desire to possess them indefinitely. Embracing impermanence also fosters a sense of gratitude. When we realize that everything is subject to change, we become more appreciative of the present moment and the people in our lives. This heightened sense of gratitude can improve our relationships and enhance our overall sense of fulfillment. We start to value experiences over possessions, understanding that memories and connections are what truly enrich our lives. Moreover, accepting impermanence can lead to greater emotional resilience. Life is full of unexpected changes, from personal losses to global events. By internalizing the concept of impermanence, we become better equipped to handle these changes with grace and composure. We learn to see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than insurmountable obstacles. This resilience not only helps us cope with difficulties, but also empowers us to take risks and pursue our goals without being paralyzed by fear of failure or loss. In addition, embracing impermanence encourages us to live more authentically. When we acknowledge that our time is limited, we are more likely to prioritize what truly matters to us. This might mean pursuing passions, spending time with loved ones, or contributing to causes we care about. By focusing on what brings genuine meaning and joy to our lives, we can lead a life that feels more aligned with our true selves. Finally, understanding impermanence can deepen our spiritual practice. Many Buddhist teachings emphasize the importance of recognizing the transient nature of all things as a path to enlightenment. By meditating on impermanence and integrating this awareness into our daily lives, we can cultivate a deeper sense of peace and liberation from the cycle of suffering. In summary, embracing impermanence offers numerous practical benefits that can enhance our quality of life. It helps us reduce attachment, foster gratitude, build emotional resilience, live authentically, and deepen our spiritual practice. By accepting the ever-changing nature of existence, we can navigate life's challenges with greater ease and find lasting fulfillment in the present moment. Mindfulness and awareness of change are fundamental practices in Buddhism that help individuals come to terms with the impermanent nature of existence. By cultivating mindfulness, one becomes more attuned to the present moment, observing thoughts, emotions, and sensations without attachment or aversion. This heightened state of awareness allows individuals to recognize the transient nature of all experiences, fostering a deeper understanding of anicca, or impermanence. In daily life, mindfulness can be practiced through various activities such as mindful breathing, walking meditation, or simply paying close attention to routine tasks. When we engage in these practices, we begin to notice the subtle shifts and changes that occur from moment to moment. For instance, during mindful breathing, one may observe how each breath is different from the last, sometimes shallow, sometimes deep, sometimes smooth, and sometimes ragged. This simple observation reinforces the idea that nothing remains static. Awareness of change also extends to our emotional and mental states. By practicing mindfulness, we can observe how our feelings and thoughts fluctuate throughout the day. One moment we might feel joy, and the next moment sadness might arise. Recognizing these shifts without clinging to positive states or pushing away negative ones helps us develop equanimity and resilience. We learn to accept that all emotions are temporary and part of the human experience. Moreover, mindfulness encourages us to be present with others in a more compassionate and empathetic manner. When we are fully present in our interactions, we become more sensitive to the changes in others' moods and needs. This awareness fosters deeper connections and a greater sense of empathy, as we understand that just like us, others are also navigating the ever-changing landscape of life. In essence, mindfulness is not just a practice but a way of being that aligns us with the natural flow of life. It teaches us to embrace change rather than resist it, leading to a more harmonious and fulfilling existence. By being mindful and aware of change, we cultivate a sense of peace and acceptance that allows us to live more fully in each moment. In the teachings of Buddhism, letting go of attachments is a fundamental practice that directly relates to the concept of impermanence. Attachments, whether to people, material possessions, or even ideas and beliefs, often lead to suffering because they create a false sense of permanence in a world that is inherently transient. The Buddha taught that clinging to these attachments is a primary source of dukkha, or suffering, because it sets up expectations that reality cannot fulfill. By understanding and accepting the impermanent nature of all things, we can begin to release our grip on these attachments and reduce our suffering. Letting go of attachments does not mean becoming indifferent or detached in an uncaring way. Instead, it involves cultivating a balanced perspective where we appreciate and engage with life fully while recognizing that everything is subject to change. This balanced approach allows us to experience joy and connection without the fear of loss overshadowing our experiences. For instance, in relationships, understanding impermanence can help us cherish moments with loved ones more deeply, while being prepared for the natural changes that time brings. One practical method for letting go of attachments is through mindfulness meditation. By observing our thoughts and feelings without judgment, we can become more aware of how attachment manifests in our lives. This awareness helps us see the transient nature of our desires and fears, making it easier to release them. Additionally, reflecting on the impermanence of all things can foster a sense of gratitude for the present moment, encouraging us to live more fully in the here and now, rather than clinging to what was or what might be. Another important aspect of letting go is practicing non-attachment to outcomes. Often, we become attached to specific results or achievements, believing they will bring lasting happiness. However, by focusing on the process rather than the outcome, we can find contentment in our efforts regardless of the result. This shift in perspective not only reduces anxiety and stress, but also opens us up to new possibilities and experiences that we might have overlooked if we were fixated on a particular goal. Letting go of attachments also involves recognizing the interconnectedness of all things. When we see ourselves as part of a larger whole, it becomes easier to release personal desires and ego-driven pursuits. This broader perspective fosters compassion and empathy towards others, as we understand that their experiences are just as fleeting and valuable as our own. In summary, letting go of attachments is a liberating practice that aligns with the Buddhist understanding of impermanence. It allows us to engage with life more fully and authentically, while reducing the suffering caused by clinging to what cannot last. Through mindfulness, gratitude, non-attachment to outcomes, and an appreciation for interconnectedness, we can cultivate a more peaceful and fulfilling existence. Understanding impermanence is a profound way to cultivate compassion and empathy. When we recognize that everything in life is transient, it becomes easier to appreciate the struggles and joys of others. This awareness fosters a deep sense of connection and shared humanity. By acknowledging that everyone experiences change, loss, and the inevitable passage of time, we can develop a more compassionate outlook towards others. Impermanence teaches us that suffering is a universal experience. No one is exempt from the pains of life, whether they are physical, emotional, or existential. This realization can soften our hearts and make us more empathetic towards the difficulties faced by others. When we see someone going through a tough time, understanding that their suffering is part of the human condition can inspire us to offer support and kindness. Moreover, recognizing our own impermanence can make us more patient and forgiving. We understand that our own emotions and reactions are fleeting, which helps us to be less judgmental and more accepting of others' behaviors and mistakes. This patience extends to ourselves as well. Knowing that our own negative feelings will pass can help us treat ourselves with the same compassion we offer to others. In relationships, this understanding can transform how we interact with loved ones. Knowing that our time together is limited encourages us to cherish each moment and to be fully present. It also helps us to let go of grudges and misunderstandings more easily, as we realize that holding on to negativity only wastes precious time. Furthermore, impermanence highlights the interconnectedness of all beings. When we see how our actions affect others and how their actions affect us, it becomes clear that compassion is not just a moral duty, but a practical necessity for harmonious living. This interconnectedness means that by helping others, we are also helping ourselves. In essence, embracing impermanence allows us to live with an open heart. It encourages us to reach out with empathy and compassion, knowing that these qualities enrich our lives and the lives of those around us. By understanding the transient nature of existence, we can foster deeper connections and create a more compassionate world. Meditation practices focused on impermanence are integral to understanding and internalizing this fundamental Buddhist concept. These practices help individuals observe the transient nature of their thoughts, emotions, and physical sensations, fostering a deeper awareness of the ever-changing reality of existence. One common meditation practice is vipassana, or insight meditation, which encourages practitioners to observe their experiences without attachment or aversion. By focusing on the breath and noting the arising and passing away of sensations, thoughts, and feelings, meditators can directly experience the impermanent nature of all phenomena. Another effective practice is the contemplation of death, known as Maranasati. This meditation involves reflecting on the inevitability of death and the uncertainty of its timing. By contemplating mortality, individuals can develop a sense of urgency to live mindfully and purposefully, recognizing that clinging to transient things only leads to suffering. This practice can also diminish fear and anxiety related to death by fostering acceptance and understanding of life's natural cycle. Mindfulness of change is another meditation technique. that emphasizes observing the constant flux in one's environment and inner world. Practitioners are encouraged to pay attention to how their body changes with each breath, how emotions shift throughout the day, and how external circumstances are in perpetual motion. This practice helps cultivate a balanced perspective, reducing attachment to fleeting experiences and promoting equanimity. Additionally, meditations on nature can be particularly powerful in illustrating impermanence. Observing the changing seasons, the life cycle of plants, or the movement of clouds can serve as potent reminders of the transient nature of all things. These meditations can be done outdoors or through visualization techniques, helping practitioners connect with the broader cycles of life and change. Incorporating these meditation practices into daily life can lead to profound insights into the nature of impermanence. By regularly engaging in these exercises, individuals can develop a more flexible and resilient mindset, better equipped to navigate the inevitable changes and challenges that life presents. Embracing impermanence through meditation not only deepens one's spiritual practice, but also enhances overall well-being by fostering a greater sense of peace and acceptance. Impermanence is not just a philosophical concept, but a reality that permeates every aspect of our lives. By embracing this truth, many individuals have found profound transformation and peace. Take, for instance, the story of a woman who lost her job unexpectedly. Initially, she was overwhelmed with fear and uncertainty. However, by reflecting on the Buddhist teachings of impermanence, she began to see this loss not as an end, but as a transition. She used this period to explore new interests and eventually found a career that was more fulfilling and aligned with her true passions. This shift in perspective allowed her to view the job loss as an opportunity for growth rather than a devastating setback. Another poignant example comes from a man who faced the terminal illness of a loved one. The inevitability of death brought immense sorrow, but through the lens of impermanence, he learned to cherish each moment spent together. Instead of being consumed by grief, he focused on creating meaningful memories and expressing his love openly. This approach not only provided comfort during a difficult time, but also deepened his appreciation for life's fleeting nature. In everyday life, embracing impermanence can also lead to simpler yet significant changes. Consider someone who struggles with perfectionism. By understanding that nothing remains static and that all efforts are transient, they can release the pressure to achieve flawless results. This acceptance fosters a more compassionate attitude towards oneself and others, reducing stress and enhancing overall well-being. Personal stories like these illustrate how the principle of impermanence can be applied to various life situations, offering a path to resilience and inner peace. Whether facing major life changes or daily challenges, recognizing the transient nature of all things helps us navigate life with greater ease and grace. It encourages us to live fully in the present moment, appreciate what we have while it lasts, and remain open to new possibilities as they arise. Fear and anxiety related to change are common human experiences, often stemming from a deep-seated desire for stability and predictability. In Buddhism, the concept of impermanence, or anicca, offers a profound way to address these emotions. By understanding that all things are transient and ever-changing, we can begin to shift our perspective on fear and anxiety. One of the first steps in overcoming fear and anxiety is to acknowledge their presence without judgment. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises from our attachment to permanence and our resistance to change. When we cling to the idea that things should remain the same, we set ourselves up for disappointment and distress. By recognizing that change is an inherent part of life, we can start to let go of this attachment and reduce our suffering. Mindfulness practices play a crucial role in this process. Through mindfulness meditation, we learn to observe our thoughts and emotions as they arise, without becoming entangled in them. This practice helps us develop a sense of detachment from our fears and anxieties, allowing us to see them as temporary mental states rather than fixed realities. As we become more mindful, we can respond to change with greater equanimity and less reactivity. Another important aspect of overcoming fear and anxiety is cultivating an attitude of acceptance. Acceptance does not mean resignation or passivity. Rather, it involves acknowledging the reality of change and embracing it as a natural part of life. When we accept that everything is impermanent, we can approach change with curiosity and openness instead of fear. This shift in mindset can transform our experience of change from one of dread to one of opportunity. Compassion also plays a vital role in addressing fear and anxiety related to change. By extending compassion towards ourselves, we can soften the harsh self-criticism that often accompanies these emotions. Recognizing that fear and anxiety are universal human experiences can help us feel less isolated and more connected to others. This sense of connection can provide comfort and support as we navigate the uncertainties of life. In addition to mindfulness and compassion, practical strategies can help manage fear and anxiety. Setting realistic goals, breaking tasks into manageable steps, and seeking support from friends, family, or a therapist can all contribute to a sense of stability amidst change. Engaging in regular physical activity, maintaining a healthy diet, and ensuring adequate rest are also essential for overall well-being. Ultimately, embracing impermanence allows us to live more fully in the present moment. When we let go of the need for certainty and control, we free ourselves from the grip of fear and anxiety. We become more adaptable, resilient, and open to new experiences. By accepting the transient nature of life, we can find peace amidst change and cultivate a deeper appreciation for the beauty and richness of each moment. In conclusion, overcoming fear and anxiety related to change involves a combination of mindfulness, acceptance, compassion, and practical strategies. By embracing the Buddhist teaching of impermanence, we can transform our relationship with change and live a fuller, more meaningful life. Impermanence, or anicca, plays a pivotal role in personal growth and transformation within the framework of Buddhism. The very essence of impermanence suggests that nothing remains static. Everything is in a constant state of flux. This fundamental truth can be a powerful catalyst for personal development. By recognizing and accepting the transient nature of all things, individuals can cultivate a mindset that is open to change and growth. This acceptance allows one to let go of rigid attachments and outdated beliefs that may hinder progress. The realization of impermanence encourages individuals to live more mindfully, appreciating each moment as it comes and goes. This heightened awareness fosters a deeper understanding of oneself and one's surroundings, paving the way for meaningful transformation. When we understand that our thoughts, emotions, and circumstances are not permanent, we become more adaptable and resilient in the face of life's challenges. This adaptability is crucial for personal growth, as it enables us to navigate through difficulties with greater ease and grace. Moreover, impermanence teaches us the value of non-attachment. By learning to let go of our attachment to specific outcomes or material possessions, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering and open up space for new experiences and opportunities. This practice of non-attachment does not mean indifference, but rather a balanced approach to life, where we can fully engage with the present moment without being enslaved by it. Embracing impermanence also fosters a sense of humility and gratitude. When we acknowledge that everything is temporary, we begin to appreciate the fleeting beauty of life and the preciousness of each experience. This gratitude can transform our perspective, making us more compassionate and empathetic towards others who are also navigating their own impermanent journeys. In essence, impermanence is not something to be feared, but rather embraced as a natural part of existence. It serves as a reminder that personal growth is an ongoing process, one that requires continuous adaptation and openness to change. By integrating the concept of impermanence into our lives, we can cultivate a more flexible, resilient, and compassionate approach to personal transformation. This acceptance ultimately leads to a fuller, richer life where growth is not just possible, but inevitable. In the realm of relationships, embracing impermanence can lead to deeper connections and a more profound appreciation for the time we share with others. Relationships, whether they are familial, romantic, or friendships, are dynamic and ever-changing. By acknowledging that these bonds are not static but fluid, we can approach them with a sense of openness and acceptance. This understanding allows us to cherish the present moments without clinging to an idealized version of what the relationship should be. Impermanence teaches us that people grow and change over time, and so do our relationships with them. This perspective encourages us to support each other's growth rather than resist it. When we accept that change is a natural part of life, we become more adaptable and resilient in our interactions. We learn to appreciate the unique phases of our relationships, recognizing that each stage has its own beauty and significance. Moreover, embracing impermanence helps us let go of unrealistic expectations. Often conflicts arise when we hold on to rigid ideas about how others should behave or how relationships should unfold. By releasing these expectations, we create space for genuine connection and understanding. We become more compassionate and empathetic, recognizing that everyone is on their own journey of growth and transformation. This approach also helps us deal with loss and separation in a healthier way. When relationships end or loved ones pass away, the pain can be overwhelming. However, by accepting impermanence as a fundamental aspect of existence, we can find solace in the knowledge that all experiences are transient. This doesn't mean we won't feel sadness or grief, but it allows us to process these emotions with greater equanimity. In practical terms, embracing impermanence in relationships means being fully present with those we care about. It means listening deeply, expressing our love and appreciation openly, and not taking moments for granted. It also involves being honest about our own needs and boundaries while respecting those of others. Ultimately, when we embrace impermanence in relationships, we cultivate a sense of gratitude for the connections we have. We learn to value the time spent with loved ones and to approach each interaction with mindfulness and presence. This not only enriches our relationships, but also enhances our overall experience of life. By accepting the transient nature of all things, we open ourselves up to deeper love, greater compassion, and a fuller appreciation of the human experience. In the context of Buddhism, the concept of impermanence extends beyond the realm of human experiences and emotions to encompass material possessions. Understanding that all things are transient can fundamentally alter our relationship with the material world. Material possessions, no matter how valuable or cherished, are subject to decay, loss, and change. This realization can help us develop a healthier and more balanced approach to the things we own. Buddhism teaches that attachment to material possessions can lead to suffering. When we cling to objects, believing they will provide lasting happiness or security, we set ourselves up for disappointment. The inevitable wear and tear, loss, or obsolescence of these items can cause distress if we have invested too much emotional significance in them. By recognizing the impermanent nature of material goods, we can reduce our attachment and the suffering that comes with it. This perspective encourages us to appreciate and use our possessions mindfully, without becoming overly attached. It promotes a sense of gratitude for what we have, while also fostering an understanding that these items are temporary aids in our journey, rather than permanent fixtures. This mindset can lead to a more sustainable lifestyle, where we value quality over quantity and make conscious choices about what we bring into our lives. Moreover, embracing impermanence in relation to material possessions can inspire acts of generosity. When we understand that clinging to objects is futile, we may find it easier to share what we have with others. This not only benefits those in need, but also helps us cultivate a sense of detachment and freedom from material constraints. In essence, recognizing the impermanence of material possessions aligns with the broader Buddhist practice of letting go. It allows us to live more freely and fully, unburdened by the constant desire for acquisition and accumulation. By embracing this principle, we can foster a deeper sense of contentment and well-being, grounded in the understanding that true happiness does not come from external objects, but from within. In Buddhism, the concept of impermanence is deeply intertwined with the understanding of interconnectedness, often referred to as interdependent origination or dependent arising, pratityasamutpada. This principle posits that all phenomena arise in dependence upon multiple causes and conditions. Nothing exists in isolation. Everything is part of a vast, intricate web of relationships and influences, constantly interacting and changing. Recognizing this interconnectedness helps us see that, Our actions, thoughts, and emotions are not isolated events, but part of a larger tapestry that affects and is affected by everything around us. The interconnectedness of all things underscores the idea that our existence is fluid and dynamic. Just as a wave cannot exist without the ocean, individual beings and objects cannot exist independently of the myriad factors that contribute to their existence. This perspective encourages a sense of humility and responsibility, as it becomes clear that our well-being is linked to the well-being of others and the environment. By understanding that our lives are interwoven with those of others, we can cultivate a deeper sense of empathy and compassion. Furthermore, this interconnectedness highlights the futility of clinging to any one aspect of life as permanent or unchanging. When we grasp the transient nature of all things, we can begin to let go of attachments and aversions that cause suffering. Instead, we learn to appreciate the present moment and the ever-changing nature of life. This awareness fosters a more flexible and resilient mindset, enabling us to navigate life's challenges with greater ease. The recognition of interconnectedness also has profound implications for how we approach ethical conduct. If our actions have far-reaching consequences, then living mindfully and ethically becomes not just a personal choice, but a collective responsibility. By acting with kindness, generosity, and wisdom, we contribute positively to the web of life, creating ripples that can lead to broader social and environmental harmony. In essence, embracing the interconnectedness of all things allows us to live more fully and harmoniously. It shifts our focus from individualistic pursuits to a more holistic understanding of existence. This shift can lead to a more meaningful and fulfilling life, where we find joy in contributing to the greater good and experiencing the richness of our shared human experience. Through this lens, impermanence is not something to be feared, but a natural aspect of life that connects us all in a continuous dance of change and renewal. In embracing impermanence, we open ourselves to a fuller, richer experience of life. The teachings of Buddhism remind us that change is the only constant, and by accepting this fundamental truth, we can navigate the complexities of existence with greater ease and grace. When we let go of our attachments to the transient nature of things, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering and cultivate a deeper sense of peace and contentment. This acceptance allows us to appreciate the present moment more fully, recognizing its fleeting beauty and unique significance. Understanding impermanence also fosters resilience. By acknowledging that both joy and sorrow are temporary, we can face life's challenges with a balanced perspective. This resilience is not about becoming indifferent or detached, but rather about engaging with life wholeheartedly while maintaining an inner equilibrium. It encourages us to cherish our relationships, knowing they are precious and not to be taken for granted. It also helps us to release material possessions and superficial desires, focusing instead on what truly matters. Moreover, embracing impermanence enhances our capacity for compassion and empathy. Recognizing that everyone experiences change and loss allows us to connect more deeply with others, offering support and understanding in times of need. This interconnectedness enriches our lives, creating a sense of community and shared humanity. Meditation practices centered on impermanence further deepen our awareness and acceptance of change. These practices help us observe the arising and passing away of thoughts, emotions, and sensations without clinging or aversion. Through regular meditation, we develop a mindful approach to life, where each moment is met with openness and curiosity. Real-life applications of these principles demonstrate their transformative power. Personal stories of those who have embraced impermanence reveal how this mindset can lead to profound personal growth and transformation. By overcoming fear and anxiety related to change, individuals find new opportunities for growth and self-discovery. In relationships, accepting impermanence allows for more genuine connections. We learn to appreciate our loved ones without trying to hold on to them tightly, fostering healthier and more fulfilling interactions. Similarly, when it comes to material possessions, understanding their transient nature helps us prioritize experiences and relationships over accumulating things. Ultimately, the concept of impermanence underscores the interconnectedness of all things. By seeing ourselves as part of a larger whole, we cultivate a sense of belonging and purpose that transcends individual concerns. In conclusion, living a fuller life through embracing impermanence means accepting the ebb and flow of existence with grace. It involves letting go of attachments, cultivating mindfulness, fostering compassion, and appreciating the present moment. By doing so, we align ourselves with the natural rhythm of life, finding peace amidst change and discovering a deeper sense of fulfillment in our everyday experiences. To keep expanding your spiritual awareness, click one of the videos on screen now.